the 29th of November 2022. You're welcome back to the site. It's nearly 12 o'clock. This is 49X, the reality of mass migration at elections. My purpose here is to make people think differently. Now, there's a video there, it's 16A, 16A, and it's 3 years ago. 3 years ago. It's still on the channel here, it's still on this channel, and you can get it. And I'll just play you a little bit of it. No, I'll just play a bit of it here. There it's there. You see, there it's there, 16A. See, and there you see the jumper I'm wearing and that. And that video is about Eamon Ryan demanding in the Dáil a few years ago that we take 5 million migrants into Ireland. And it also goes on to deal with Asi Bibi, a persecuted Christian woman from Pakistan who was sentenced to death by hanging, and her children used to stay outside the prison she was in, young children. And this is the cruel regime you had there. A judge let her out, but the public and the politicians demanded she be executed. And she wanted to come to Ireland. They allowed her to leave the country, and the Irish government refused to allow her to come in. I wrote to my local TD, myself, a man called Patrick Manning, and Brendan Howland, the Labour TD, wanted her to come in. Every other politician demanded she would not, they wouldn't help her, not said they demanded, they just wouldn't let her in. They didn't give the reason. But when she applied to go into England, Theresa May said, no, she can't come here because it would offend Muslims. So that'll show you the callousness of what's happening. So they wouldn't let a Christian woman in here that was being sentenced to death for nothing. It was something to do with a drink of water. And they wouldn't let her in because it would offend Muslims. Now, I wanted to show you, this is a rough map of the island of Ireland, a rough map there, and this is the Republic. And at the next election, and at the last election, and subsequent elections, the public will be fooled into thinking they're going to vote for the rights and promises and the well-being of the Republic of Ireland. But in fact, if I move up here to this map, this is a map of the world. Our government doesn't favour South America or the Americas at all, but it wants 500 million migrants in from Africa, India, all of Asia. So about 600 to 700 million people in that area want to come to Europe, and Ireland is one country that welcomes them in. And the point I'm making about elections, when you look at how tiny Ireland is in relation to all of this, and how tiny its population, I mean, people, they'll just be crammed on top of other. These people are going to get all the houses, all the health, all the schools and everything else, and are already going to get it. So it's possible that the people of the Republic of Ireland will reject the politicians who promised this if they realise that in fact the promises that are being made at the election are being made for all these people and not them, or that they, at least that these people have to share. They might not support the existing politicians, and therefore the National Party, the Freedom Party, and other people who will be protesting and who don't want this will possibly be in with a chance of a vote. But the key to this is to plant this in people's heads. The next election in Ireland has nothing to do with the Republic of Ireland. It has to do with the politicians' pensions, their money and what they get. The rich people will not be affected. By and large, they could go off and live in Morocco or live somewhere else, but all of these people will benefit from the little effort of the Irish, which could break Ireland. Now, the Swedish Foreign Minister told Micheál Martin, the Taoiseach, in the European Parliament, 500 million from Africa alone want to come, and that's roughly about 600 million. The existing population of Ireland is 6 million, so you can see that population will go up 100 times if this comes to pass. Now, I agree, being practical, they might not come because the conditions will sink so low that they won't want to come, but a lot of them will come. So that's the thing. The main point to remember from all of this is to look at that video 46A, but also to realise and to plant it in the minds of the public. The next election promises and the action of the Irish government, it'll be nothing to do with them. It's for people living several thousand miles away in Mozambique, Zambia, Myanmar, Pakistan, Iran. There'll always be a war somewhere. There'll always be an excuse for people leaving and coming to Ireland. Ireland's the place to be, and Ireland is welcoming, and millions and millions are going to pour in here if the government gets its way. I think the Irish people will reject it, and that's why Dáil seats could be won. Folks, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. We'll see you back for something else.